Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, George. How are you today?
I am doing okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Fall is in the air.
Yes, it
Beginning
is.
to get there, yeah.
It's starting to feel like, even though I'm not a football fan per se,
I wonder why.
I can only have one love.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it does feel like football season. That's where I was going to that.
Okay.
There's something about fall for me that makes me want to go to a high school football game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, like how we are formed when we are young
So true.
kind of stays with us the rest of our lives,
really
even
does.
though, yeah, it's not my favorite things to do, but I've been taught to think this way,
Yeah.
and it's part of my thinking.
Yeah, it's part of the ritual of the fabric of our lives. You know, these things. I bet all our listeners have things, tastes, sounds, smells,
Yeah.
experiences
Yeah.
that are connected to autumn or fall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or other events in their lives that are so connected to our senses. Like sometimes I smell something and it's not about the smell, it's about that experience that I had way
Interesting.
back then that is related to that smell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So true. That's
It's our
good.
senses are amazing that
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the road less traveled, and we've kind of explored many things so far. There's still a few things ahead of us. We want to explore power and leadership together. We want to explore prayer and communion, intimate communion with God, and maybe suffering as ways that Jesus thought about differently than the rest,
Yeah.
and traveled differently than the rest
Yeah.
of the world, his world, which he would encourage us to travel differently than the world we are living.
Yeah, that's helpful to kind of frame it that way, because when we're referencing the road less traveled, obviously that began biblically with something he said about a wide and narrow way. But just to keep reminding ourselves, what we're really after is what he lived and taught in that. When
Yeah.
he's talking about the wide and narrow way, what's he thinking about, and how are we seeing that in his life?
Yeah, yeah. And there is nothing that how Jesus was, what he taught, what he did, that is not instructive for us.
Yeah.
Of course, there are some things that are not true of us. We cannot die for the world, for example. But the act of dying is instructive to us.
That's right. And there is a cross for us.
There's a cross for us to
Yeah.
bear, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in Jesus' life that we are not to think about and perhaps emulate the way he was. And no more so, I think, than this area of power and leadership. And I know you have a degree in leadership.
I'm not sure what that makes me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But how did you get there?
Not very good at it, for one. Yeah.
What prompted it?
Oh, man, so good. I think that I grew up under, as we all did, in different ways and expressions and in different cultures. You know, you and I experienced it differently in culture. But I grew up always under leaders, whether it was at home or whether it was in the classroom. But for me, my affection was in the realm of athletics. And so the leaders that, you know, really emerged in my mind as both models, whether positively or negatively, were coaches. And I think that's where it began for me, is noticing what was important to my coaches. I wasn't, in my youth, I didn't have much sophistication in discerning what was healthy and what wasn't. There were some healthy traits there in some of my coaches, but that began this almost subconscious quest of what is good leadership and how do you use power when you have it, influence, and then I think now to fast forward, I think in my midlife years, there was a particular verse that I think Dallas Willard actually brought to bear in class one day, and it was Mark 1:22. It's a pretty familiar passage, but it says, when Jesus taught, he taught as one who people were amazed because he taught as one who had authority. And then the contrast is made, and not like the teachers of the law.
Yes.
That got my attention because I knew the teachers of the law were the authoritative. They were in the authoritative chairs in the culture. But Mark is making this contrast that Jesus' manner, and here specifically of teaching,
yes,
was very different in quality. And that didn't shock me. It made me curious. And it led me, I think, into probably pursuing an advanced degree in leadership. And what was it about that was distinct in Jesus that he would call me into, and how is it different from the models that I've been surrounded with? How is it different than how, the culture I've learned it in and am currently practicing? And it's been pretty disruptive, personally, to reorient my life and way and roles around that. But it's also been something I'm extremely grateful for.
Yeah.
To begin learning his ways. And it's been this, you call it fits and starts sometimes, like just repeated attempts to more fully choose his way of the exercise of leadership and the tiny bit of power I might have in a relationship or a organization. So, yeah.
And you've been in local church leadership most of your life.
I have. Yeah. So that's where it's gotten fleshed out, and where the growth has happened, as well as some of the failures. You know, and but it's been really, really a wonderful journey, and continues to be, but also continues to have a disrupting effect, because it's not just it's out of joint with the culture. It's out of joint often with my own desire, perhaps, but I'm becoming more acclimated.
Yeah. The scriptures talk about leadership, not leadership, but per se.
You're right.
Because there's a lot of trappings around that term. But those who have the gift to lead, let them lead.
Yeah.
It's not very often that the Bible uses that word, but a couple of times when it does, it indicates that there's a giftedness that is given to us by the Spirit. It's one of the gifts to be able to lead the people of God.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And, well, if so, then the question, for me, the big questions is, where do we find it in Scriptures?
Yeah.
And what's a good theology about that? And how do we practice it? And really, the best answer we can give to all of these questions is Jesus.
Yeah, we always want to default there.
That's right.
The best part of us, I think, that's saying start with Jesus.
Yeah.
And then stay with him.
Because, we have people in the Old Testament that were leaders. Like let's think about a few of them together.
Yeah.
Abraham.
Yeah.
Was a leader.
Yeah.
God chose him and gave him the responsibility to lead into that future promise.
An entrepreneur.
That's right.
Yeah.
And his troubles with his nephew Lot, and how he went to war and organized and led that that battle. In that battle.
Troubles with his own wife.
That's right. That's right.
Failures there in his own household.
So these could be models of leadership from the Scriptures, and what can we learn from them?
Absolutely.
You've got Moses, that was a leader.
Yes.
A reluctant leader, but he was a leader.
Yeah. Who am I? He asked that all the time.
And reluctant in the sense that he began leading late in life.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
You have David, who's a leader, and so many more, so many women leaders. Like you have Esther that is leading
Yeah.
the people of God. You
Yeah.
have Deborah that is the judge that is leading the
Yeah.
people of God, and
Yeah.
and
Huldah,
others,
and
many others as
Yeah.
well. So leadership is not gender specific; it's Holy Spirit specific.
There we go. Yeah, that's right.
That He guides people and gifts people to lead where the appropriate time and place for them to lead
Yeah, that's right.
would be.
And He will call and guide anyone He wants.
That's right.
To do
That's
it.
right. But the bigger question I think
Yeah.
has to do is, well, how did Jesus lead? And I think that's very instructive. We'll talk about that a little bit. But a corollary to that question is, what exactly did Jesus lead?
Yeah.
And frankly, that's a new question for me. The emphasis has been on how did Jesus lead, and let's emulate that.
Yeah.
And well, let's talk about that. Like how did Jesus lead?
And
like what were the ways that in his character he exhibited and how to lead and how we can follow in his footsteps?
Absolutely.
That's a good question. We know that he served people.
It was a core value that He both demonstrated and
right.
taught.
That's right. And we see it like focalized when he
Did you say
takes a towel.
focalized?
That's right.
With an
Focus.
F, not a V. He focalized it. I've never heard that word before.
I may have just made it up.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah.
But he, it comes out in the washing of his disciples' feet.
Yeah.
And other places, I have come to serve and not to be served. In Philippians, you have Jesus. You have Paul saying he became a servant and served people.
Yeah, and that's a big statement in itself. I think we could probably do multiple conversations just around that, because I think what we see in Jesus is more than an action, although it always had action in it. He served, but it was a posture.
That's right.
That when he enters a situation or a circumstance or an engagement of a person, the posture is not one of, I've got to get command and control of this situation.
Yeah.
Now, there's times to do that, and we see him doing it from time to time, but the orientation of his leadership is as servant.
Yes.
How can I be of help here?
Which comes from an inward space of being humble, of being willing to love other people where they are and how they are, and lead them to that next step, which also seems to be where his authority that people noticed lie.
Yeah.
His authority, his authenticity is in his authenticity, in his willingness to help people in loving and graceful and encouraging and compassionate ways, right? So,
agreed. I think that the authority that people are noticing, I mean, that would be a really fun conversation to be able to gather those people who are listening to him and say, okay, Mark said this about Jesus. Tell us what you were seeing. And I think you're right, George, in that I don't think the authority was primarily because his eloquence or the force by which he spoke or the tone. Those things may have been accompanying, but I think there is an intangible presence. We've been in the presence of people who you just know when you're with them, they're fully with you and they're for you.
Yeah.
They want to love you and be of help. And I think that was the authority that just was Jesus.
Yes, absolutely. And those are the kinds of leaders that we go towards.
Yeah.
That impress us, and we want to listen to them and hear them.
Yeah.
The rambunctious ones, the hurrah ones, they may have their place at time.
Mm-hmm.
In our lives or in the life of the church. But the kind of leader is that quiet leader
Mm-hmm.
who is doing what God has called them to do
Mm-hmm.
in the quietness of their own soul and extending that to other people.
Yeah.
That's authority.
It is, and I think trust. It's been said many places is the real capital of healthy leadership. Because we don't expect perfection from our leaders, and in fact we almost don't want that because there's a connection that's made when we realize they're human like me.
Yeah.
Jesus was really good at making that connection with people as a human being, but we do want to trust them.
Mm-hmm.
We want to feel like, and I think trust is gained when we come to the conclusion that they really have our interest at heart.
Yes.
And I think that...
And it's lost when we realize they don't.
They don't. That's right. Trust is broken. And it's grieving. Like this whole question you're asking about, how did Jesus lead? That's a disrupting question for us, for anyone who wants to be involved in giving leadership or having influence, because one of the implications is if we're really going to take that to heart, we're probably going to have to spend a lot of energy and time on the state of our own inner lives.
Yeah.
You're not going to just be able to read a book about how to gain trust and influence people.
Yeah.
You're not going to find the right organizational schematic or system. It's going to be so much about the person we're becoming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that takes time.
It's so interesting. We both share a professor at seminary, Dr. David Garland.
Yeah.
And he came in one day to class, and he wrote 2 words on the blackboard. I don't know what he was like preoccupied with at that time, but they were obviously very meaningful to him. He wrote the word SIC and the word SIL. And we were all intrigued by that. He asked us in his own inimical way, what do you think those words mean? And different people took guesses at what they could be. And it says, SIC is how we mostly view how pastoral work is happening and how leadership is happening. He says, we evaluate a leader by what is happening since I came. SIC.
Since I came.
Since I came.
Since I got here.
Yeah. Look at all that's happening since I came. And we have many leaders touting that, today. But then what does the word SIL mean? He said that means look at what's still happening since I left.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Since I left.
That's good, George. I've never heard that story.
And in Jesus' case, what happened since he came and how he led since he came was evident since he left, after he left.
Wow, yeah.
Then you see the disciples having the same authority. You see the disciples who were not that loving, they're not painted as the most loving people in the world before, but now they are loving. You have them speak with authority. You have them just being the kind of people that others wanted to be around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody flocked to them and listened to them and were encouraged by them.
Yeah.
Like, this is what happened since I left.
Yeah.
And I think if we are going to evaluate leadership, that's a good evaluation.
It is, because I think that this is very anecdotal. I'm not bringing data with me to back this up, but I suspect that if we did a robust look at leaders who left a legacy of growth after their, term in a place and with a people, I think what we would find is this lag between what they did and their accomplishments and achievements while in the seat. Nothing wrong with that, but it's those are the achievements and the accomplishments typically are not the things that remain. Mm-hmm. It's the character that gets somehow into the fabric of the culture that winds up producing the fruit. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
That's fair, yes. I have been in ministry for a long time, and my ministry was to work with local churches very often.
Yeah.
And to help local churches sometimes discern who the next leader is going to be and walk them through the process of selecting a new leader and that kind of thing. And inevitably this happens. A leader leaves, the church gathers, figures out what they need to do, and they select a new leader. And they're starting from scratch again. Uh-huh. It's like nothing of what was passed on to them has the staying power to carry them through. Somebody else needs to come and change that and do something different. I find that very intriguing.
Yeah.
That's not what happened with Jesus.
Not at all.
What happened with Jesus is how he led them is how they led afterwards.
Yeah, so much was in that. I want to return for just a second to that. He taught as one who had authority. Mm-hmm. That authority and all that it was.
Had the power, the staying power to take them on for them. And for generations after them and until today. It's carrying on. Yeah. But there's a corollary question to how did Jesus teach that I've never heard anybody really address. Mm. So I'm not saying this is unique. I just haven't been exposed to it.
Sure.
And maybe it goes by a different name and I haven't realized it. Right?
Okay.
Is not so much how did Jesus lead, but what exactly did Jesus lead in? What did Jesus actually lead in?
Yeah.
And I think
unpack that a little bit, George.
And I think if we can figure what Jesus actually led, we would be able to do the exact same kind of leading that he did. If we can identify what he led. Yeah. And I'm a newcomer to that question because I'm like everybody else. We've adopted a leadership culture in the church that is really, for the most part, given to us by leadership gurus in the world. To me, that's fairly prominent.
Yeah.
But it doesn't address what to lead. What is it that we're supposed to lead?
Yeah, and I think behind it is this question that we've come to be able to frame and name, and that is, how would Jesus be living my life if he were me? And then as a leader, asking that question.
Yeah.
If he was in the seat of influence or leadership that I'm serving in, what would it look like? I think that's what your question about the what is getting at.
Yeah. Well, let's just think together about some of those. What did Jesus lead in?
Yeah.
Well, a few things come to mind. One, he led in serving people.
Yeah.
When there was an opportunity to serve, whether it was children or adults or sick or poor or rich or powerful or whatever. There was no distinction in the way Jesus led. He led in that way because he came to be a servant, right?
Yeah.
And another way would be one of the things that Jesus led in doing, or led in his way of being with his disciples as leader, is hearing the voice of God.
He led them in.
He led them in that. What was the next step? What town do we go to? And is it time to do this? Is it time to do that? My time has not yet come. And all of that, I think, was training the leaders, the disciples, the apostles, to figure out how to listen to God. And if there was an expert on that, Jesus was that expert.
Yeah.
And he would say to them, I don't see the Father working here. I see the Father working here. Let's join him.
Yeah,
there.
that's good.
Let's follow that.
Yeah.
So how to hear God, how to hear the voice of God, and what we need to do is the kind of training that leaders could be doing.
Yeah, that's really good.
This is what Jesus did.
This is what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we teach and lead in a conversational life with God? Listening, conversing, checking in, discerning.
Yes.
It's good.
Now,
George.
we have a lot of leadership that addresses us on how to kind of meet people's needs.
Okay.
And I think that's important. But I think in this sense here, Henry Nouwen kind of brought an idea forward. He says, don't so much focus on how to be relevant to the people. Focus more on how to be prayerful and let God guide in prayer through the Holy Spirit what relevance actually means in your own congregation, in your own ministry. Right? So from relevance to prayer would be one of the movements that we need to adjust to make in our life today.
Yeah, that's good. And let's quote that source, because I think that book by Nouwen is In the Name of Jesus.
In the Name of Jesus.
We recommend that book. If you're looking for a book on spiritual leadership, we recommend that one. It won't give you 1, 2, 3 way to do things. It's going to ask you some questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I read it it just changed the way I think about leadership.
Yeah.
It's not a leadership book per se.
Right.
But it's one of the best books that's written on leadership that I know.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
There's how to love people well. Jesus led his disciples. That's what he was leading them to do.
Yeah.
How to love people well. Those that are opposed to you, those that
That's right, your
come
enemies.
and use you,
Yeah.
and those that really need you. How to love people well. He didn't love everybody the same way.
No.
Some people he challenged them.
Yeah.
And some people his heart went out to them and did everything he could for them.
Yeah.
Healing and forgiving and all of that.
Yeah.
How Jesus, what Jesus was teaching his disciples by doing these things this is what leadership is about. Loving people well.
Yeah, and learning to be with them, learning to see them, learning to hear them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see Jesus inviting people in, come follow me now. Sometimes we say, now go and tell. You go now. He's not saying come with me, he's saying now go.
Yeah.
We see him doing both.
Yes, absolutely. Eugene Peterson wrote a book called The Jesus Way. And it's a soft, maybe too soft, but it's a criticism of the way we in the church have adopted a way of leadership that is not, that you wouldn't recognize Jesus doing.
Yeah.
Jesus is not standing up on the highways and byways podium and saying this issue and that issue of culture, we just need to fight that. That's not what Jesus is doing.
Yeah.
He's not an issues-based kind of a leader.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's not leading in that.
No, he's not leading in that.
He's not leading in the way.
Was he concerned about that? Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah,
and the way to tackle that is to form disciples that are going to be so much like him, that they're going to be loving and listening to the voice of God and doing things in that way.
Yeah, and the kingdom effect of this people that he's forming will be inherently salt and light in those issues.
Yeah.
But there, I read a quote yesterday. I was just doing a quick look at a book I think it was called "Kill the Spider." I'm not recommending or not recommending the book. I haven't read it, but a quote that was in there that I really liked. The author said, and this would take a long discussion to pick this quote apart. So just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
He said, "Stop standing for issues and start walking with people." And I think that's what Jesus did. I mean, there were plenty of issues he could have tackled.
That's right.
Very publicly. But what he did was engage the people who were trapped in the issues and addressed them where they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a joke about the spider, kill the spider.
Okay.
You want to hear it?
I don't think I have a choice. Go ahead.
There's a deacon always in deacons' meeting would always close with this. Dear God, would you please clear the cobwebs in my mind so that I may serve you better?
Yeah.
And he prayed that prayer for years and years and years in the deacons group. One day, one of the deacons, after this one deacon prayed, forgot to clear the cobwebs, this deacon stood up and said, God, would you just kill that spider?
That's good. I wonder if that's where the...
I wonder.
Yeah.
When he said that, I wonder if that story kind of comes out
may
somewhere.
have been the genius for the creation of that book. Wouldn't surprise me. George, you said something earlier today as we were just conversing and preparing for this, and we're going a little bit long here, but that's okay. Bear with us. We won't go more than 5 more minutes here. But you said something about... or at least something you said led us into a conversation about organizations and leadership, and so much of what we have been trained in and oriented has been around how to build organizations and institutions.
Yes.
And we want to give a caveat for this. We're not here to condemn building organizations or institutions. That's not our point. We're saying we seem to have been so oriented. That's
our default leadership model.
Yes. How can I build a system and an organization that will like corral people and get them to do what we want them to do and multiply and grow? And,
that's right. That's right.
And say some more about that.
We just don't see Jesus doing a lot of that.
Back to our question. We don't see Jesus.
That's not what Jesus focused on. With his disciples. Is there room and a place for that? Well, Paul talks about that a little bit, you know, when you come together as a church and, do these kinds of things in an organized kind of way.
Right.
So it's not like there's an absence of that. But if there's an absence of what Jesus actually did with his disciples, the other one doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we were like really conversing about earlier. Is maybe it's a matter of priority. I don't know if that's the right way to say it or not. But it seems like one of our reflections was when a group who is at least supposed to be in the place of living Jesus' life and living it together, imitating him as a people, something changes when the focus of the group becomes about the institution or the organization.
That's right.
Whether it's promoting it
That's
or
right.
protecting it, or preserving it, then it seems like something fundamental in the how and what of Jesus gets lost.
That's right.
In that.
It is an axiom in leadership literature to say any organization that gets big enough eventually needs to protect the organization in order for it to function
Right.
the way it needs to.
Yeah.
So it becomes about how can we protect our organization. In other words, how do we do things internally for ourselves so that we can keep functioning
Keep doing
in the
this.
same kind of way.
Yeah.
And there may be some necessity for that, but along with that has to come with how do we keep this vision of leading like Jesus alive
Yeah.
in all of it.
That's right.
And if we don't prioritize this question, then we default to how do we keep ourselves existing?
Yeah.
And how do we keep our own interests first?
That's right. And when
That's the danger.
when we go into that realm of protecting and promoting and preserving, it seems as whether that's just in the life of the leader or the culture of the organization, the heart and soul is gone.
Yeah, that's right.
It begins to leave, and so it seems like we recognize there's a tension. You know, we're not saying just kick all organizational to the curb, but I think we can safely say, if we're really wanting to look to Jesus
For leadership.
for leadership, then there's something to be learned here.
Let's do what he did.
Yeah, let's do what he
focus
did.
on what he did.
Yeah.
Let me just mention a few other things. How to face opposition. Jesus taught his disciples how to face opposition.
Yeah.
And he did that. He did that in front of them. He didn't do it privately.
Yeah.
He taught them what to do there. How to suffer. How to suffer willingly.
Yeah.
How to obey and surrender yourself to the will of God.
Yeah.
That,
In the midst of
that's what
hardship
Jesus
and suffering.
did. That's right.
Yeah.
How to question things and how to raise questions with people that bring them to the bottom line of their lives. Like all of those kinds of things is what Jesus did as a leader. And we can afford to go there and to explore that and to teach people what to lead in their own context in the organization.
Yeah.
If we don't focus on that, we'll never get to what Jesus actually.
Yeah. You know, a thought I just had, George, too, is when you're talking about how to question, I think another thing Jesus teaches us is how to be questioned.
That's right.
I think about times in my own journey when someone's brought a question, and they're probably an honest one, and I've received it as a threat. That's really lacking humility. You know, Jesus, we see him get questioned. What must I do? To know, and the way he is with that person and receives the question, whether his response makes it easier for the person to come in or presents a real challenge for them. There's a lot to learn there just from watching Jesus receive questions himself.
I think the question of what did Jesus lead is a captivating question.
I do too.
And I think we always need to be asking, what is the what?
Yeah. What is the what?
And I'm picking up on the title of a novel written by a Sudanese man who was one of the lost boys of Sudan.
Okay.
And it's a very fascinating read. But he's asking the question, what is the what?
Yeah.
And I think if we can figure out what is the what of Jesus, I'll make a promise things will go better in our church leadership.
Yeah, and it seems like the two questions they have to go together. How did Jesus lead, and what is he leading?
Correct. They are corollary questions.
Yeah.
How he led and what he led are on Siamese twins.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And I think if we leave anything from this episode, it would be that, like, wrestle with that.
Yeah. What did Jesus actually lead?
Yeah.
And what's happened since he left?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh boy, George, I think we could easily spend another hour just on this, but we won't. We'll stop here. What we hope we've done here is at least ignited a spark, for people to be thinking this way about these kinds of questions about leadership.
Yeah, and this is one way of thinking about the road less traveled, to think about how Jesus traveled this road of leadership.
Yeah.
And can we learn from him how to lead?
That's right.
And what to lead.
Yeah, there you go.
What to lead in, yeah.
Let's do it.
Until next time.
Until next time, yeah. All right. Thank you, George.
Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Soul Renovate podcast. Any of the scriptures or resources that we mentioned in this episode will be linked in our show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app, because it really helps us to share these conversations with more Christian leaders like you. And if you have any questions you'd like Jim and George to answer, you can email us at info@soulrenovate.us. Soul Renovate is a ministry of Christ First Counseling Center, and it exists to propel Christian leaders to abide in Christ and grow in his likeness. Soul Renovate is made possible by the generous support of people like you. If you'd like to support us, you can do that on our website, soulrenovate.us. And if you'd like to learn more about Soul Renovate, you can also do that on our website, soulrenovate.us. This podcast is produced by me, Dalton Huey. Our cover art was designed by Hannah Huey, and our music is by The Fox's Forest. Thanks again for listening. Till next time.